Hey y'all, today I'm going to show you how to make this easy and super cheesy cauliflower au gratin. This is essentially a cheesy baked cauliflower casserole that's a nice twist on scalloped potatoes or potato au gratin, but we're making it a little bit more healthy. I mean, we are loading it with butter and cheese, okay? But we're going to cut some of the carbs, maybe I should say that. Now I have like a medium-sized cauliflower, and I'm going to cut it up into florets and then put it into my colander because I need to rinse and clean them. And this is about how many florets that I got. I've been boiling some water, and I'm going to season the water because when you season the water, you season the food. I'm putting in 2 teaspoons of chicken bouillon as well as some salt, and I'm going to thoroughly mix that around. And then I'm just cooking my cauliflower just a little bit. I really just want to infuse some flavor into it. So I'm only going to be cooking it for about 4 minutes exactly. Do not overdo this because you don't want it to become mushy at all. Now when it's finished, I'm going to strain out all of the water, and I'm going to actually rinse it with cool water just to immediately stop the cooking process, because if you don't do this, the cauliflower is going to continue to cook for a long time, and you don't want that to happen. One thing you must do is dry this cauliflower very well. If there's any ounce of water still left on this cauliflower, it is going to make your dish too runny. Now it's hard for me to show here because I was really only using one hand, but I am literally patting and squeezing the water out of this cauliflower because I want it to be super dry, and I allowed it to sit at the side for even about 15 more minutes just to air dry after using the paper towel. Let's start on this sauce, and to begin with, I'm putting in about 3 tablespoons of butter and 1/4 of an onion. Just a little bit of onion to give the onion flavor, but you don't want it to be overpowering at all. I'm putting in about a 1/2 teaspoon of thyme. Now in this case, I am using some cassava flour because I wanted to share this with a friend who was gluten-free. However, the best thing to use is 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. And I'm just going to toast that in the butter just to get out the initial flour taste. Because I used cassava flour, it did change the texture of my sauce just a little bit, and you'll see in the end my sauce is a little bit looser, but when I've done this with all-purpose flour, it comes out thicker. So I just want to make that a note for you guys. In here I'm adding about 1/2 cup of heavy cream, and I'm just going to stir that in gently, and as you saw, I put in a little bit of garlic. Now I'm adding about 1 cup roughly of milk, and that is going to help make the sauce, and you will start to see the sauce really thicken. Now I was having trouble getting all the lumps out with my spoon, so I just switched over to a whisk, and I just beat all the lumps out for about 3 minutes just to make sure it was going to be super smooth. To season, you guys know I love better than bouillon, so I'm using 1 teaspoon of the chicken and also 1 teaspoon of the roasted garlic flavor, but you could also use just 2 teaspoons of the chicken. The best cheese for this is Swiss cheese and Munster cheese. The Swiss cheese adds a nice tanginess that you really cannot replace in this dish. It's really delicious, and the Munster cheese is super creamy. If you don't have Munster, use mozzarella. That would be really good. Even provolone and Swiss together would be a good pair, or just a simple cheddar. But really, I encourage you to use the Swiss cheese. Season your sauce to your liking. I like a good amount of salt and pepper and thyme, which is my favorite herb. And I just mix these together until this sauce was the boss. I'm telling you, you could take this sauce and even put this on baked potatoes or anything like that, and it would be very, very delicious. To start assembling this au gratin, I'm put down first 1/2 of my cauliflower and then about 1/2 of my cheese mixture, and I mixed it together well. If you use the flour, you're going to see that your sauce might be a little bit thicker than mine, and that is totally fine. So just make sure that all your pieces are coated. Next, I am putting the rest of my cauliflower on top, and then I'm going to go in with the rest of my sauce and just make sure everything is combined. To add a little bit of nuttiness, I'm going to end up shredding on about 1/4 of a cup of Parmesan cheese so that when it bakes, there's a nice crust on the top. Now, as you can tell, this is a very rich and buttery and creamy dish. So I think this would end up pairing well with some other things that are a bit lighter. So maybe like some roast chicken or a salad or green beans, some baked salmon, something of that nature, so that you can get some dishes with it that will complement the rich and cheesy flavor but not be too heavy themselves. So these would be some good pairings. You could also check out my pork chop recipe on my channel. I'm going to bake this in the oven at 375 for about 25 minutes until the crust is nice and golden and the dish is bubbly. And when it's all finished, you will have the most delicious and very easy cauliflower au gratin. It's so simple to make. Everybody loves this dish. Even if they don't like cauliflower, you will love this. Guys, I hope you subscribe to this channel and let me know in the comments if you'll be making this dish. I hope you know that God loves you and I love you, and I'll see you next time in Camirra's Kitchen. Goodbye.